What do they call you?
I just go by Andrew.
Andrew, what are you incarcerated for, sir, and how long is your sentence?
So I'm incarcerated for first-degree murder and assault with intent to cause great bodily injury on another victim, and I got 26 years to life.
Where are you from right here on the streets?
What was that?
Where are you from right here on the streets? Where are you out of?
Chino.
Do you or did you at any time point in your life belong to any type of gangs, groups, organizations, or anything like that, sir?
Yeah, I was in the skinhead group. Okay, so I was born in San Diego, and I grew up with my biological father. I mean, he was a terror to my mom and to us, and like one of my first memories, is getting tossed through a freaking wall by him as a kid. So, I mean, it was a lot of chaos at home, and eventually they divorced, and I didn't see him from 5. I was 5 years old. I didn't see him from 5 until 14, and I'll circle back to that because that's how I caught my first case. That's how I got into the system, was as a juvenile, seeing him again. And so yeah, it was just a lot of chaos, a lot of drama. But then my mom, she married my stepdad, and we moved from San Diego to Los Serranos. That's near Chino and near the prison and stuff. And I was running around doing drugs, things like that, ditching school, all that, and eventually she suggested.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That my real dad had called, and she was like, "Do you want to go live with him since you're fucking up out here?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went to Orange County, and he was staying in an apartment, and I lived there about a week, and then I got into it with him, and he was on top of me, getting me, right? So I remember I pulled out like a fingernail file, and that's what I had in my back pocket, and I gave him a gash across his neck. He backed up. By then, people had heard it and called the cops. So I got arrested on what he said. Me saying I was defending myself, all that didn't matter. And then when I was in juvenile hall in Orange County, the guy tried to steal my shoes, so I fought with him over a pair of shoes, and that gave me a bad disposition, they call it. And so now the district attorney gets the disposition, and he's trying to turn this whole case around on me. And so they basically pressured my dad into saying all this shit, and that was how I got stuck. I got a 4-year suspended sentence for assault with a deadly weapon, for using a fingernail file to defend myself, And yeah, from there, I was only out again for another 2 months until I turned 20 years old. So I got out for like 2 months, came back into the system, and didn't get out again until I was 20. And I started off, I went to, after I left Orange County Juvenile Hall, I went back to the streets for a few months, got arrested for probation violation, not going to school. They sent me to placement. I went to placement in El Centro. And I was in the placement in El Centro, Kelly Center, Volunteers of America, and I got kicked out. I got a probation violation for getting into fistfights. I went back to juvenile hall, and they sent me to Rite of Passage in Yerington, Nevada. And I mean, that place was straight crazy. Like I killed a couple kids while I was there. Once again, I got a probation violation, but I was glad to get out of there. And then I went to YTS, the California Youth Authority, START, and I was there from 2002 to 2004, excuse me. And that's where really I got indoctrinated into all that shit. There was only a handful of whites there, and all of them were getting into this and thinking this way, because the environment there is just so racial and chaotic. And yeah, it was just like it was a dumb decision, but there wasn't really much choice in it. I mean, every day it's fights, it's riots, and people are going to be attacking you based on what you look like, and they're going to assume you roll with these people. So that was just how it was. That's how that place was. And yeah, the racial mentality there was real bad. And I mean, people are just kids there. They really don't know any better. You know, it's 18 to 25, and I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, just the way that the whole thing is structured and set up, it feeds that type of shit, feeds that type of mentality. And so, yeah, by the time I came out of there, I was fully into it, going to the shows, going to these little organization meetings and all that, and yeah, it really just caused me to throw my life away at that point. Okay, so I was in that apartment. I was drinking. My brother had come over, and he tells me he brings a couple of his friends, and we're drinking and talking about, you know, let's go get in a fight, this and that. I mean, we're already drunk by then. So we go down to Corona because my brother's girlfriend lives in Corona, and we had already been getting into it with the dudes across the street, like repeatedly. And it was like a little, I don't know, like, I guess you could say it's kind of along lines, like, there was some punk rockers in the area, and these dudes were like cholos, and it was all like shit that originated at Showcase Theater, little fights and stuff that broke out. So it had just kept running back and forth, and we went down there, and I got the shit beat out of me at a bar, and they didn't help me. So I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to fight my brother now, right? So we're arguing, and he says, stop the car. And he gets out of the car and walks off with his friend. I get out of the car to throw hands with him, and he's just walking away by now. So I get back in the car, like, whatever, fuck it, you know, he's not going to fight me, whatever. And then the girl I'm in the car with, Ariel, she tells me, well, aren't you going to go and help them? And I was like, well, help them with what? And I look, and they're getting into a fight with these other two people that they know that I don't even know. My brother had robbed this dude, I guess, prior to this, and so this dude and his friends had jumped my brother after that. They had a whole little feud. I don't even know these dudes. So I go down there just walking, and the guy pulls out like a wooden board to smack my brother with. So I take the board from him, and I hit him a couple times. He goes running away, and then this other dude gets knocked out. And as he's getting back up, I hit him maybe 4 times with this board, and that was enough to kill him. And, I mean, the whole thing just happened in seconds. It wasn't like, you know, I don't know. It was just a ridiculous night where, like, I was damn near blacked out drunk almost, and threw away my life for... And before that, I was doing good. That was the longest I had ever been out. I had got out 17 months, went away for a DUI, and then I got out again, and I was out. They put me away for 5 months for a DUI. Well, anybody else would have got 1 day for. So I went away for the 5 months. I got out again. I was out a year, and I was scheduled to get off parole and everything. And then that shit happened. And yeah, I ended up getting life. The people that were involved testified that something entirely different happened. You know what I mean? And they gave me a first-degree murder when really the only reason I came into possession of the weapon was defending this fucking idiot. And I just wish I never would have got out of the car. But yeah, it just happened in a flash.
How did you get caught? Like, how were you arrested?
So my brother, right away, the surviving victim said that my brother did the whole thing. And so they went and picked him up, and then he said, no, I did everything, right? And then his other friends were out there, like, talking about it left and right. So really, it was just that. I was sitting in prison on a violation, and I was set up with some jailhouse informant, like a career jailhouse informant, and I gave him my brother's hookup because he acted like he was some sort of lawyer guy that had lost his bar number for his...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Ended up being a piece of shit child, and nobody has paperwork at Chino, so I didn't know. And he said, because he heard me talking to my neighbor, this dude Richard Reyes that I know on the street, and Richard Reyes and me were kind of talking about the case, but like trying to keep it coded, but I guess he figured it out. And so he had all these additions to the story, right? And I'm pretty sure he talked to my brother. He got his hookup and just basically had planned this whole thing to put this case on me. And then, I mean, the people, their stories, none of them matched, right? But all of a sudden at trial, my brother's testimony matches this jailhouse informant. It's totally orchestrated by the Riverside District Attorneys. None of the facts are like how they got him. Like I can tell you straight up, I had no intention of killing anybody, of fighting certain types of people, nothing. I just wanted to. I was drunk. I was angry. I wanted to get into a fight. So that's what I did. I got my ass handed to me out in a bar on 6th Street. And then,
was your brother charged in any way?
Yeah, he was originally sitting in on murder, but they had nothing. And so he just, within I think a couple months, he broke. You know? And the stupid thing is he would have got as much time as he got had he not said anything as the time he got for taking a deal to say everything. So it's just, I don't know. It made no sense for him to testify.
How much time did he get?
He ended up getting 15 years. But that's all. They didn't have nothing on him. And not only that, he told the district attorney...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
While he was seeking a deal, that he's always hated me and hoped I would die or go to prison for life. And they gave him a deal. I'm like, how did somebody say this? How did the surviving victim came to court too and said he did everything, but here I sit, right?
And this is your brother?
Yeah, flesh and blood. I mean, I didn't really grow up with him because I grew up in the system, right? And so, I mean, I don't know.
Can you call back, sir?
Oh, it was fucked. Yeah, I couldn't even look at him, but I mean, I guess he did what he had to do. I could have never, if the shoe was on the other foot, I could have never done it to him. I guess he got scared of a case that really had no evidence, you know.
And he's still incarcerated?
No, he got out. He got out a long time ago, got a job, moved to another state. He's doing good, but I don't talk to him anymore. He's pretty much like he's dead to me now, so.
And how much time did you get?
I got 26 years to life.
And how long have you been incarcerated?
Well, since 1999, I've only been out like a couple years, you know. Like I was an honor roll student and all that all the way up till I was like 12, and then like I had engagement with the system at that age, and they put me in a psych ward, you know, for freaking like 48 days. That psych ward eventually got shut down for child abuse and shit. And like when I came out of there, that's when I was like using dope and all that, and so that's really like the cause of my downfall prior to meeting my dad that's the catalyst of like going to Orange County and meeting up with him. And I mean, just little mistakes along the way just cost me big. You know, I would have never, had it not been for the way the juvenile courts and all that is arranged, I would have never gone down this path. Like, I couldn't even have a jury trial. They said I had no right to a jury trial. A judge found me true. Like, what does that even mean, you know? And so, yeah, and from the age of 14 to the age of 20, I was in youth authorities, placements, and juvenile halls. And then when I got out at 20, I was out about 9 months, and that's when I was running around real deep into the skinhead shit. And we got arrested for an attempted murder and a hate crime.
What is that all about?
It ended up. So there was a park, and like we pulled up at the park and we were playing some music that this guy didn't want to hear. So he told us to shut it off. He was with his friends, I was with mine. Jumped out of the car. I socked him. There was a big ass brawl. They put my homeboy in the hospital because of things that were said. They were like, this is a hate crime or whatever. And we all got arrested. But then when these guys came to testify on us, he was like, yeah, I knocked his ass out and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of like went against them. And so the DA, instead of like seeking 9 years and all this crazy charges, he ended up giving me a deal for 3 for half. He gave my friend a deal for 2 for half, and then my other friend 16 months with half. And that was when I went to state prison as an adult. And then I ended up doing almost my whole term because in prison I ended up in more stupid shit in ad seg, got a shoot term for a knife, just all kinds of little dumb shit that comes with life. And I remember after that, that's when I got out and really tried to stay out, though. When I got out again, I was out 17 months, and it was a DUI. I ran a red light, and I got a DUI, and that cost me 5 months. So I lost everything. You know, it would have been a night in jail had I not been on parole. And then when I got out again, I scraped. I got it all back. I was done with this shit. I was really trying to go straight. And one night of bullshit again cost me 26 to life. But I know since then, like I've started like college about a couple of years ago. I do the groups thing. Like I really try, you know. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I was in the mix already just coming in. And I started off, I didn't get to start off like fire camp or anything like that. They brought up my youth authority record and made me start off like almost to level 4. And after like...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So I ended up doing almost that whole term, even though I was originally given half of it. But yeah, it was it still had the group yards, you know, instead of these little dog cages. If you were in the hole or you were in the shoe, you could still come out with more than one person. And yeah, so it was a lot of drama.
Was there ever a scary moment that you remember? Maybe a riot that you could take us to? Or something that sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, they tried to have my cellie stab me, and he was fishing, and the knife got caught on the stairs, so it was clinking, and he's trying to use they call it carny talk, to talk to the other dude, and it's like coded words, but I knew what he was saying. So basically he's fighting so he can't pull this line, you know, fighting for my life in the cell.
Why was that? Why did this happen?
Well, I was a YA baby, so I wasn't really drilled with, like, the type of, like, prison has a hierarchy. You got to listen to people, and YA is at like a free-for-all. You don't listen to anybody. Somebody tells you what to do, you just haul off on them, right? So I had the wrong mentality, and that shit got me caught up, like, real quick, you know? So basically I got into it with the wrong people, and next thing you know, I went from like 0 to 100 quick, and they're fishing this dude a piece to get me with.
Do you recall seeing other people getting put in really sticky situations, or other people for even catching life sentences for these people in the higher ups, and just seeing them getting used and manipulated?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, left and right. I mean, guys were, you know, they had months to go, and they were getting life sentences. I mean, you could scratch somebody with a razor blade, and if it was like on, I think it was above the shoulders or something like that, it could be on their face, and they would say attempted murder, and now you got life. Or putting a scratch on someone's face, like it. I would just want them to know, like especially the youngsters, like, don't have any sort of negative contact with the system, with police, with anything, because it'll cost you your life. Like, you could end up in the worst of the worst places. You don't have any rights. You know, if you're under 18, you don't have no right to a jury trial, nothing. It's going to be a probation department and the court, and they're going to find you guilty of whatever they want, or they find you true, whatever, and they'll talk to you. And so, yeah, I just don't have any negative involvement with the police. And I wanted to ask too, everybody listening to this show, like, I'm rated a national master in the game of chess. So if you will please get at me on the tablet. I don't know if you can put my information out there for them, but I would really appreciate it if they could go to gettingout.com and look up Andrew Gray V95089 and run some games with me. I get bored in here.
Oh man, your contact information will definitely be posted right here in this video. And yeah, that's interesting, man. That, you know, how did you become a champion?
I just had a natural bent for it, and then, like, over the years, I've gotten access to, like, little tablets that had the game on it, and I would beat the highest difficulty levels and just got really good. And then I was on chessmail.com, and I was playing against 5 masters. I was getting some draws against some FMs, but most of them were getting me, and then the national masters I can hold the draw with repeatedly. So that's how I found out, like, where I was at.
Very interesting, man. I hope somebody takes you up for your offer.